All right, when I pose my question, or when I posed it in the past, who makes the dollar? Some of you get it, but then others here who think they're very smart, they say, well, it's the Federal Reserve that makes the dollar. So let's go over this, and you need to understand this. So those of you who keep saying the Fed makes the dollar, the government does not make any dollars, it's the Fed. What you are implying is that the Fed gives dollars to the government and enables the spending of the government, and that is wrong. Okay, first of all, a lot of you try to assert that the Fed is a private corporation. It is not a private corporation. It was created by an act of Congress in 1913. Its members, its controlling committee, they are nominated by the president. They are confirmed by Congress. The chief of which, the Fed chief, has to report to Congress twice a year. All of the Fed's profits, other than that which it needs to just run itself, they're all handed over to the Treasury. If you call that a private business, I've never seen a private business like that basically has all its money that has to be turned over, all its profits turned over to the government, where its members are appointed by the government, where it has to report to the government, where it was created by the government. But if you want to go on believing that, that's fine. This is not the point of this conversation that I'm having here right now. All right. So yes, the Fed can create an infinite amount of dollars, and it does so by just electronically crediting reserves to the banking system, denominated, of course, in dollars, our national currency. It can also order that the U.S. Bureau of Printing and Engraving print up dollars. If banks have physical bill requirements, Federal Reserve note requirements, they essentially buy them from the Fed, okay? And the Fed orders that delivered to whatever bank needs them, okay? So in that respect, yeah. However, the Fed is prohibited by law, okay, from buying treasuries from the U.S. Treasury. It cannot buy government securities from the U.S. Treasury. So in no way can it give the government money. The Fed can only purchase government securities in the secondary market, and that means it is buying government securities from people or firms or entities, could be even foreign governments, who have purchased them already, and they own them, and they're actively traded. When the government does an auction, it is an auction to registered primary dealers. Those are mainly banks and big Wall Street firms who have a dealer relationship with the Fed. One way to think about it, think about a car manufacturer that manufactures cars and a relationship with its dealers. The people do not buy directly from the car manufacturer, they buy from a dealer, and the car manufacturer sells to the dealers who have a legal relationship with the manufacturer. Same thing there. So the Fed cannot, it does not. All right, so it does not give dollars to the government. It cannot give dollars to the government. It is precluded by statute from doing that. So the dollars have to be in existence for people to buy treasuries. Where do those dollars come from? The Fed is not creating them. The dollars come from government spending itself. The government tells the Fed to make payments on its behalf. If it needs to make payments, whatever, a Social Security payment, a payment to a defense vendor, a payment for veterans benefits, unemployment benefits, Medicare, Medicaid, education department spending, you name it, all right? It'll make those payments. It instructs its bank, which is the Fed, to credit the payee's account. The money goes into the banking system, and those dollars are used to buy treasuries. And treasuries are just dollars with a term and a coupon. I must have said that 10 million times. There's people on here, they just don't get it. They think the Fed is writing checks to the government. It cannot do that. It does not do that. All right? The Fed cannot give dollars to the government. So if you think you're so smart and you're saying, oh, the government doesn't create any money, the Fed does. Well, the Fed creates dollars, but so does the government in its spending. And when it reaches its limit every year or every 2 years, guess what? Congress just says by decree, okay, now the limit is 2 trillion more. It's like a Monopoly game. You read the instructions. If you've ever played Monopoly, if you read the instructions in Monopoly, if you have a game at home, read it. It says if you run out of those bills, those colorful bills in the Monopoly game, the instructions of the game says just write down a denominator, write down the bill on a piece of paper and use that. Okay, same thing. So we reached the debt limit, big deal, and then Congress magically just says, okay, now we have 2 trillion more. That's all it is. So stop with this that the Fed is giving money to the government. It cannot do that. Educate yourself, people. Educate yourself. Really, come on, seriously. And those of you, you can't spell, you have terrible grammar, educate yourself. Jesus.